Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. In this module, we shall be discussing about carbon monoxide toxicity. You know that all air pollutants can be divided into two categories, primary air pollutants and secondary air pollutants, and carbon monoxide is one among the primary air pollutants. The health effects of carbon monoxide are very unique as compared to other air pollutant, primary air pollutants. So, we have decided that we will be discussing its effects in detail. The learning objective of this module are to know about carbon monoxide and its routes of occurrence in the body, to gain knowledge about exogenous carbon monoxide formation, to understand about the mechanism of action and toxicological effects of carbon monoxide, to know about human health effects at different carboxyhemoglobin levels. Let me have a brief idea of carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless and tasteless non-irritant and ubiquitous asphyxiating gas produced by the incomplete combustion of hydrocarbons. These hydrocarbons may be solid, liquids and gaseous carbon containing fuels. As we have discussed, these properties like colorless, odorless, tasteless and non-irritating make it very dangerous, because it cannot be detected by any of our senses, and when it cannot be detected by any of our senses, it means this is more dangerous. Carbon monoxide is 96.5% as heavier as air, and this is not soluble in water. Again, when carbon monoxide is released by the incomplete combustion of fossil fuels, and this is heavier than air. So, as a result of that, it does not rise, rather it remains at lower level, and when it remains at lower level, this affect the human beings. And another property, its non-solubility in water is again added to its toxicity, because as it cannot be dissolved in water. So, this exists in the environment, in the air for very long periods. Carbon monoxide is a criteria air pollutant as listed by US EPA. Now, criteria air pollutants, this term is used to describe a group of very common pollutants that are regulated by EPA on the basis of criteria, and that criteria is the information on health or environmental effects of the pollutant. Means a pollutant about whom the information is available, that what kind of effects it may have on the human health as well as environment. Carbon monoxide is usually found in high concentrations in the urban atmosphere, and you know the obvious reason is the obvious reason is the transportation in the urban areas. No other gaseous air pollutant with such a toxic potential as carbon monoxide exists at such high concentrations in the urban environment. Historically, carbon monoxide asphyxiation has been well documented since the ancient Roman times. The early exposure began from the use of firewood and then coal for domestic heating. Carbon monoxide occurs in the body through two routes. One of them is endogenous route and other one is exogenous route. The endogenous route, the carbon monoxide that exists in the body through endogenous route may be from the hemoglobin catabolism and from lipid peroxidation, whereas the carbon monoxide that exists in the body from exogenous route may be from the ambient air via lungs. Rather, this exogenous route is more important. More carbon monoxide enter in the body through this exogenous route. Let me discuss different routes of carbon monoxide in the body. First, we will discuss endogenous route. Endogenously, carbon monoxide is produced mainly by hemoglobin catabolism. Enzymatic heme degradation, this hemoglobin catabolism is enzymatic heme degradation by HO, and minute amounts can also be produced as byproduct of iron catalyzed lipid peroxidation. The bulk of heme catabolism occurs in the reticuloendothelial system of the spleen and liver, hence the endogenous carbon monoxide production. Endogenous carbon monoxide production accounts for less than 1% of carboxy hemoglobin levels of blood. At these physiologic levels, carbon monoxide may serve as a neurotransmitter or modulate other neurotransmitters and hormones. The functions of carbon monoxide at these levels include neurotransmission, vasodilation, anti-proliferation, effects of smooth muscle, inhibition of platelet aggregation and anti-inflammatory agent. As far as exogenous route of exposure to carbon monoxide is concerned, this is mainly from the uptake from ambient air by lungs. Now, the question arises how this exogenous carbon monoxide is produced in the air. Exogenous carbon monoxide formation or production usually occur through any one of these three processes, and these three processes are, one of the first among them is incomplete combustion of carbon or carbon containing compounds. When available oxygen is less than the amount required for complete combustion, that is insufficient supply of oxygen. When there is sufficient supply of oxygen, that time the carbon compound will be converted into carbon dioxide. But when there is not sufficient supply of oxygen, that time instead of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide is formed. So, carbon monoxide is the end product of incomplete combustion. Here this reaction shows that when carbon react with oxygen, this is converted into carbon monoxide, and then this carbon monoxide further react with oxygen, get converted into carbon dioxide. When there is not sufficient oxygen, that time the second part of this reaction does not take place and only carbon monoxide is produced. The second reaction by which carbon monoxide can be produced is the reaction between carbon dioxide and carbon containing materials at elevated temperatures. Carbon monoxide is also produced when carbon dioxide react with carbon containing materials at elevated temperature. Commonly in many industrial devices, one common example is blast furnace. The carbon monoxide produced in this way is necessary in certain industrial applications, as in the blast furnace of smelter, where carbon monoxide act as a reducing agent in the production of iron from Fe2O3 ores. However, some carbon monoxide may escape into the atmosphere, and over there this may have its ill effects on the human beings. The third possible reaction by which carbon monoxide can be produced is the dissociation of carbon dioxide at high temperatures. Then dissociation of carbon dioxide is favored by high temperatures. Carbon dioxide dissociates into carbon monoxide and atomic oxygen at higher temperature, as shown in this reaction. Let me discuss the sources of human exposure to carbon monoxide. As I told you earlier that carbon monoxide is a odorless but a poisonous gas that can neither be smelled nor seen and can kill a person in minutes if the concentration of the gas is high enough. Carbon monoxide is a common cause of accidental poisoning. Exposure to carbon monoxide comes mainly from these sources. These sources are carbon monoxide in the surrounding ambient environment, mainly from exhaust gases. Whenever any combustible fuel is burnt, carbon monoxide is produced. Carbon monoxide in the ambient environment is emitted from exhaust gases from automobile and industrial machinery. With the emergence of automobiles propelled by an internal combustion engine, the carbon monoxide emitted from the exhaust pipe has become the major source for human exposure. Second cause may be accidental intoxication. Through house fires, more than 50,000 ppm of carbon dioxide, more than 50,000 ppm of carbon monoxide and home environmental problems such as defective furnaces, charcoal burning in poorly vented houses or garages connected to living quarters and space heaters in the campus. The numerous fatal cases of carbon monoxide poisoning that occur each year and almost always the result of improperly vented heating devices in the indoor areas. Carbon monoxide is also produced from explosives used in surface blasting. Carbon monoxide produced can travel through soil and get accumulated in confined spaces, creating a hazard for workers. Inside air in homes in the vicinity of a blast site may also acquire elevated carbon monoxide levels. There may be occupational exposure of carbon monoxide. Serious problems exist with the occupational exposure to increased ambient carbon monoxide for firefighters. More than 10,000 ppm carbon monoxide levels exist at the time of fire fighting. Then higher levels of ambient carbon monoxide have been reported for traffic police, toll booth attendants, smelter workers, coal miners, coke ovens and transportation mechanics. The another source of carbon monoxide toxicity is cigarette smoking. Smokers have high carboxyhemoglobin levels than non-smokers. Particularly in the less developed countries with a large percentage of the population smoking, non-smokers are subjected to inhalation of carbon monoxide from cigarette smoking in confined spaces. A cigarette smoker is exposed to 400 to 500 ppm carbon monoxide, resulting in carboxyhemoglobin level of 3 to 8% that may increase to 15% in a heavy smoker in comparison to carboxyhemoglobin of 1 to 3% in non-smokers. In hookah, that is water pipe smoking, the exposure to carbon monoxide from the combustion of charcoal is 10 folds greater than that of a cigarette smoking. This table shows the blood carboxyhemoglobin levels in smokers. In never smoked category of people, the median equilibrium blood carboxyhemoglobin level is about 1.3%. In ex-smokers, this blood carboxyhemoglobin levels are 1.4%. In pipe or cigar smokers only, this blood carboxyhemoglobin level may be 1.7. In light cigarette smokers, depending whether these are known inhaler or inhaler, the levels may be 2.3 to 3.8%. In moderate smokers, the carbon monoxide, the carboxyhemoglobin level in the blood may be 5.9%, whereas in heavy smoker those consume more than 2 packs per day and inhalers, the level may be 6.9% of the carboxyhemoglobin. So, this table clearly shows that the level of carboxyhemoglobin in the blood is more in the smokers than non-smokers. Let me discuss the mechanism of action and toxicological effects of carbon monoxide. A constant supply of oxygen is needed for normal physiological functions in the body. Oxygen is carried to body tissue by hemoglobin. Each hemoglobin has 4 sites heme for binding with oxygen. Hemoglobin picks up oxygen in the lungs, forming a complex called as oxyhemoglobin. The same is shown here in this reaction, that hemoglobin react with 4 molecules oxygen and form oxyhemoglobin. This oxyhemoglobin complex releases the oxygen bound to it to be used by body tissues. Hemoglobin then returns to the lungs for a new supply of oxygen. But carbon monoxide is toxic because it interferes with oxygen delivery to the body organs and tissues. Carbon monoxide gas binds avidly to ferrous in hemoglobin, forming carboxyhemoglobin, that is sometimes written as HbCO or COHb. The chemical affinity of carbon monoxide for combining with hemoglobin is much greater than that of oxygen. The chemical affinity of carbon dioxide for hemoglobin is more than 200 times than that of oxygen. In presence of carbon monoxide, oxyhemoglobin readily releases the oxygen bound and picks up carbon monoxide to form carboxyhemoglobin. Since a binding site on an Hb molecule, hemoglobin molecule, cannot be occupied by both CO and oxygen at the same time, substantial quantity of hemoglobin preferably ties up with carbon monoxide, forming carboxyhemoglobin. After carbon monoxide binds with one site of hemoglobin molecule, the hemoglobin tetramer bounds oxygen with greater affinity, which makes it more difficult for the hemoglobin molecule to unload and deliver oxygen to the body's organ. Consequently, carbon monoxide not only decreases the oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin molecules, but also affect the release of oxygen to the body tissues, leading to tissue hypoxia, thus severely impairing body functions, especially of the heart and central nervous system. The chemical reaction, this chemical reaction number 8, that is written with a double arrow, this denote that this is reversible. Although an increase in oxygen concentrations can shift the equilibrium in equation 8 to the left, recovery of hemoglobin is slow, while the asphyxiating effect of putting hemoglobin out of business is rapid. The normal or background levels of blood HbCO, that is carboxyhemoglobin, is about 0.5%. The carbon monoxide is derived from both the carbon monoxide in ambient air and the carbon monoxide produced by the body during catabolism of heme. The equilibrium percentage of carboxyhemoglobin in the bloodstream of a person continually exposed to an ambient air carbon monoxide concentration of less than 100 ppm can be calculated from the below given equation, that percent carboxyhemoglobin in blood is equal to 0.16 multiplied by carbon monoxide concentration in the air in ppm plus 0.5. So, from this equation you can calculate the percentage of carboxyhemoglobin in the blood. Health effects varying from impairment in awareness and judgment, headache, nausea, collapse and coma to death may be expected to occur based on carboxyhemoglobin levels. Inhaled carbon monoxide aggravates coronary heart diseases as well as circulatory, lung and respiratory diseases due to reduced oxygen carrying capacity of the blood and increased demand of the heart and lungs. Carbon monoxide competes with oxygen for binding of hemoglobin, but in addition it also binds with other proteins such as myoglobin, cytochrome P450 and cytochrome C oxidase. Carbon monoxide also impairs the facilitated diffusion of oxygen to the mitochondria, shifting the oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve to the alteration of the oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve by carboxyhemoglobin occurs in such a manner that oxygen is released to tissues with great difficulty and at a lower oxygen tension. Demonstrated health effects associated with carboxyhemoglobin levels are given in this table. When carboxyhemoglobin level is less than 1%, then carbon monoxide produced endogenously from hemoglobin catabolism and have many neuroprotective effects, no apparent effect. If carboxyhemoglobin levels are 2 to 4%, that may lead to visual impairment. If carboxyhemoglobin levels are 5 to 10%, that may lead to impairment of visual perception, impairment of learning, and performance of certain intellectual tasks is affected, impairment in response to certain psychomotor tests, and increased coronary blood flow, decreased night vision and peripheral vision. If carboxyhemoglobin levels are 20 to 30% may cause nausea, severe headache, weakness particularly in the legs, fatigue, occasional vomiting and impairment of manual dexterity. If the levels of carboxyhemoglobin are 30 to 40%, then it may lead to nausea, severe headache, vomiting, clouding of mental alertness with increasing weakness, increased respiratory and heart rate, loss of consciousness with hypotension. If the levels are 40 to 50%, that may lead to collapse and coma and hypotension and seizures, and if the levels are more than 50%, then death may be there if untreated. Maternal carbon monoxide poisoning during pregnancy has been shown to cause fetus death due to lack of oxygen in the fetal circulatory system. Carbon monoxide poisoning causing unconsciousness for 30 minutes to 5 hours does not do permanent damage to the mother, but can cause brain damage, mental deficiency or death to the fetus. Severity of damage is related to the month of pregnancy, the fetus being particularly vulnerable shortly before birth. Now, the question arises, what is the possible cure of carbon monoxide poisoning? Carbon monoxide poisoning can be cured by exposing the affected person to oxygen where the reverse reaction occurs. The half life of carboxyhemoglobin complex is 4 to 6 hours at rest at room air. That can be shortened to 60 to 90 minutes if 100% oxygen is given using a face mask. Since more than 2 hours at 100% oxygen can cause pulmonary oxygen toxicity, the oxygen concentration should be reduced to 60% at 2 hours. This reaction shows that how the effects of carbon monoxide can be reduced. So, there is only one treatment, that is the supply of oxygen to the affected person. Dear student, I would like to discuss a few common cases where carbon monoxide toxicity occur. You might have read in newspapers or heard that particularly in this monsoon season, when some farmer go for the repair of its tube well in the well, that time that farmer is exposed to the carbon monoxide. As I told in the beginning the carbon monoxide is produced inside the well, because it is heavier than air, it does not rise, it exists over there, and this carbon monoxide is colorless, odorless, tasteless. The farmer working over there repairing the tube inside the well, any sense of the farmer cannot detect it. So, that may lead to death, and such type of cases occur very commonly, particularly in the monsoon season. Second, these cases are very common, this carbon monoxide toxicity cases are very common in the houses, those use gas geysers in their bathrooms. When we are taking bath and gas geyser inside the bathroom, that time the oxygen levels are decreased in the bathroom, because the door is closed, and again the person is affected, person get fainted and may die even. Several cases I have read in the newspaper that two people sitting in a air conditioned car and closed from, all the windows are closed, over there also I have read that this carbon monoxide toxicity occur. So, dear student, I will suggest you please have a look on such type of news items appear in different newspapers, or educate people that how they can come over the effects of carbon monoxide. So, to summarize this module, in this module we have learnt the properties of carbon monoxide, how the carbon monoxide is produced, and what are the effects of carbon monoxide, and we have learnt some of the reactions, that how this carbon monoxide affect the human beings, and we have learnt a bit about the cure also of the carbon monoxide toxicity. Thank you.